This episode of Wrestling Road Stories is bittersweet to say the least. It is the last one of this series. Now, Wrestling Road Stories is something I put together as soon as I started really accumulating subscribers. When I started looking at my YouTube channel and said, wow, this could really be something. This was one of the first ideas I had, and we are on the very last episode. So it's been a crazy adventure. If you've been watching it since the beginning, thank you so much. Without further ado, let's talk about Nunzio's extreme moments. If you don't know who Nunzio is, do your homework. He's one of the great cruiserweights in wrestling. He wrestled for Impact, he wrestled for WWE, but most notably, ECW. He's an ECW original, and on top of that, he's a great wrestler, and on top of that, he's a hell of a guy. I consider him one of the best people I've ever met in professional wrestling. Now let's talk about his two-part series. The very first one takes place in Middletown, New York. One of my favorite places to do a wrestling show is at a county fair. I just feel like people are riled up. A lot of times they've been doing a little bit of drinking, and it's usually just a great time. So this time I was part of a tag team called Law of Attraction with my good friend Tristan Law, and we were set to face off with Scotty Charisma and Nunzio. Now, I was super stoked, but also really nervous because this was the first time I was facing someone who had been in the major leagues of wrestling. Not to mention, I was very green. So Tristan and I meet up with Nunzio and Scotty just to go over a little bit of the details in our match. Why don't we fast forward to the good part of the story? Okay, we are back. So the match finishes, and the match it was decent. It was a decent match, but the people wanted more. They wanted to see me and Tristan punished, completely decimated. So after the match, we're heading back. We're holding our necks, holding our head, our face. We're in pain, and all of a sudden, right from behind, bam! Nunzio cracks me right in the back, and I see him snatch a beer from one of the fans and just splash it in my face. I'm like this, can't see, my eyes. He grabs me by the back of my head, bam! Right into a chain link fence. And it was the most ECW thing ever. And I loved every second of it. I was just like, you know what? If this was going to happen with anybody, I'm glad it was an ECW original. And that was my first experience facing someone who had been in the major leagues of professional wrestling. Now, the second story with Nunzio actually takes place the same night as Booker T and the Werewolf. So at this time, Tristan and I were still tag team partners, but we had separate matches that night. I had the first match of the night. It had finished up. Now Tristan was facing Nunzio one-on-one. Tristan and I talked, and he said, listen, man, if I'm in trouble, I need you to pull the referee out and make sure that 3 count doesn't happen, you know? So Tristan and I were concocting a little bit of a plan just in case. Yes, the concoction is almost finished. Yes. So the plan was very simple. If Nunzio looks like he's going to get the win, I need to show up and make sure he does not, and Tristan takes that W. But sometimes things just don't go according to plan, right? Am I right? So I have this really good spot backstage where I can see the ring from where I am, but nobody can see me. Out of nowhere, like 6 kids show up and they spot me. There he is, Mom. Look, it's Matt. He's gonna cheat. He's gonna cheat. He's gonna... So at this point, I'm like, damn, they're totally giving me away. So I run around to the opposite end of the building, and as soon as I come to the door, what do I see? The referee has started his 3 count with Nunzio pinning Tristan Law. And I am nowhere near that ring. 1! I'm running towards the barricade as fast as I can. 2! I hop over the barricade and get to the ring apron. Stop! By like a decimal of a second. I take a swing at Nunzio and completely miss. He hits me out of the ring. He hits his finisher on Tristan, and that's a wrap. Law of Attraction loses again. Welcome to my life. And that is Nunzio's extreme moments and the last episode of Wrestling Road Stories. I'm glad you guys came along with me for the journey. I hope you enjoyed. Bam!